According to journalists, The Last of Us Part 2 is the greatest game ever. And of course, it comprises of the greatest characters ever, which leads to produce the greatest story ever. They called it a game that defined a gaming generation. So why is nobody buying it? Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Buy The Last of Us Part 2, says Sony, as the game goes on sale around all outlets. Hey, I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. Games go on sale. It's as simple as that, particularly single-player games when they don't have a multiplayer to at least attempt to hold an audience. No DLC has been announced or is in sight for the game. So, yeah, they've got to try and generate sales somehow. But as you can see from the image that they put here, 5 stars, a masterpiece, The Telegraph. 5 stars, a generation-defining masterpiece. Let's out-masterpiece a masterpiece. 5 stars, a masterpiece, Games Radar. 5 stars, the greatest game of this generation, Tech Radar. You can see the 10s out of 10s and the other 5 stars that are going alongside it. Me, I thought the game was a load of shit. I thought it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I'm talking from a narrative perspective here. Gameplay-wise, it was fine. Nothing to get excited about, but nothing to throw the control around the room type of business. But in terms of storytelling and characterization, it was hot garbage. Absolute hot garbage. I've done plenty of videos about it. Don't really need to go about it any further. But one thing that I did predict was that it was going to sell very well when it initially came out. I did stress in videos that people who were going to be a supporter of this game were going to get immediate gratification, in as much as we all knew that the media were going to do this. That was obvious. The media is full of activists. It's not full of actual people that will tell you the truth when it comes to a video game. They want their access, and they will kiss ass to get their access. It's as simple as that. But not massive amounts of people will come onto the internet and will do lots of research or look into stuff. There's too many normies in the world. Thank God. I know it raises up sales for games that probably don't deserve it, but thank God for normies. Thank God for normal people. And what they will say is, hey, I remember playing The Last of Us Part 1. It was great. I'm going to buy the sequel. So there was always going to be that initial spurt of sales for the title. Even though the leaks had come out, we knew what the leaks were. And for the most part, the leaks were 100% correct. The only thing that we had any sort of wobble about was whether or not Ellie was actually going to die in the game. So, with that said, it skyrockets in sales. Let's just have a look here at last month's. When I say last month's, the last month's release of charts. So this is June 2020. The Last of Us Part 2 reportedly recorded the biggest digital launch month sales of any PlayStation exclusive. Naughty Dog's PS4 title sold 2.8 million copies digitally in June, surpassing the 2.2 of Marvel's Spider-Man and Final Fantasy VII Remake that they recorded during their launch months. Now then, we see it, obviously, it only came out on PS4, and we see it topping the charts. One thing that isn't mentioned here, I don't think, but The Last of Us Part 2 outsold the rest of the top 10 combined. So you add up all the sales from FIFA, Pokemon, Grand Theft Auto, Fortnite, Destiny 2, etc., 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 and they will not make up the sales of The Last of Us Part 2. That's how big it sold. That is a good start. As expected, too many normies out there. Too many normies who just thought they were going to get themselves a decent game. What I also stressed in my videos was people like me who thought the game was hot garbage, who thought the story was diabolical, was terrible. It was nonsensical, poorly put together. Characters were dreadful. The idea that Cuckman had was dreadful. We were going to have to see the long game. We were going to have to see how the sales would continue to go throughout the course of the generation of the game, the lifespan of the game. So ultimately, we would be probably having to wait years. The Last of Us, the original game, by 2017, that had sold, you know, some like 14 to 17 million copies. So there was a long passage of time that would have to go by for us to truly get a sense of what was going to happen with this title. Or so I thought. When the next month's sales came out, these are the latest. We won't know the August sales until round about the mid-20s of this month. So this is the latest sales in terms of video games. And we noticed that number one now is Ghost of Tsushima. And when Ghost of Tsushima came out, it came out to massive fan response. Some critical response, but only some. You see, Access Media, because they are activists and they're not truly gamers, they hate gamers. I mean, they truly despise gamers. It's such a weird industry. The comics industry is weird, the gaming industry is weird. Because Access Media, their masters are Sony. Their masters are Warner Brothers. Their masters are the studios that they can gain access to. But for some reason, they pit themselves against the gamer. And so when gamers come out and say, hey, we love this, this is fantastic, then suddenly Access Media need to paint a different narrative. Some of them gave Ghost of Tsushima like a terrible score. And when you see something like that, you just have to laugh. Because even objectively, Ghost of Tsushima is freaking brilliant. It takes the idea of sandbox and makes it so kind of unique to the others. You've got your Far Cry games. You've got your, put it this way, I'll paint this with a big brush. You got your Ubisoft games. They all feel the same. All of them. Whether or not, whichever franchise you're playing, they all feel the same. However, when it came to Ghost of Tsushima, still adopting that same sort of open world, it had such a strong narrative that flowed through the game that even when you decided to branch out and do your own thing, lots of things came interconnected with the story. And it just made for an awesome experience. So even objectively, excellent game. My own personal feelings about it, I think it's the best game of the year. And I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I thought was sensational. But I think Ghost of Tsushima, to me, so far, is the best game of the year by far. I think it's brilliant. The story moved me. It touched me. It was emotional. The characterization was splendid, unbelievable. The narrative was brilliant. The side stories, the side characters that you could develop relationships with, mwah! It was an absolute pleasure to play through that game. And when I did a playthrough for it, hidden, thankfully, behind a reassuring paywall on my channel for my Jedi Master members. And you just have to watch that playthrough to see exactly how much I love that game. I'm beaming from start to finish. I get emotional at some areas. I'm just loving others. Great story, great world, great gameplay. It had everything that you could possibly want for a gamer. Rightfully taking its position at the top and selling so well that it ran out of stock in Japan. where, of course, the Western press said it was culturally appropriating. No, Japan thought this was fantastic. Sold out in Japan. Here in the UK, sold out. We got sold out for a bit. We couldn't get it for love nor money. Amazon, out. Game had to ship directly from supplier, so it would take a few more days than usual. Stock comes in, it's gone. And it's I think Ghost of Tsushima became the best brand new franchise launch on the PlayStation. Once upon a time, that was held by The Last of Us. Not no more. But where, just a single month later, is The Last of Us Part 2? Well, it's down here in 7th spot. It's down here in 7th spot. So you could say, well, okay, you know, second month, it gets knocked off. But wait. The month before, it outsold all of the rest of the top 10 combined. The next month, they're outselling it. 5 from the previous month, plus Ghost of Tsushima, which sold ridiculous amount, 1.8 million or something stupid, really, really high. So The Last of Us Part 2 can't even outsell the games that it was combining to outsell the month before. Fortnite's beating it. Grand Theft Auto 5. How old is that game? 7 years old? 8 years old? Outselling it. NBA, FIFA, Modern Warfare, outselling it. The sales of this game have absolutely collapsed. You can tell because of this. This says everything that you need to know. Because the numbers that these are selling comparative to, let's say, the top game or the top game here are non-comparative. Today, I think exactly today, we've had the release of Marvel's Avengers. Whether or not I'm not personally going to pick it up, but if you do pick it up, most likely that's going to go top next month, maybe. When I say next month, we're talking not the next chart, the chart after. So we'll find out in October, end of October time. But in 3 weeks' time, where's The Last of Us Part 2 going to be? That's interesting. That is interesting. So sure, games go on sale, but games are going on sale because nobody's buying this thing now. And that to me is a response from the actual gamers themselves as to how they have reacted. You can go into any store that sells games, and their stocks of The Last of Us Part 2 pre-owned are flowing. Even if you wanted to pick this up, why buy new? Why buy new when there's so many pre-owned games in excellent condition? Because they were probably put in and then taken out and cashed in as quickly as possible so that person could get as much of their money back as they possibly could. Can't wait for The Last of Us Part 3. I don't think it's ever gonna come out. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and YouTube for live streaming. Links are in the description box down below, and I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.